All right, so we're back and diving deep today into the Gorge.
Oh, the Gorge. I've heard quite a bit about this one.
Yeah, this is one that you guys requested. Lots of buzz around this film, so we're going to unpack what we can, what makes it tick.
Sounds good.
So just a quick overview. Came out on Valentine's Day. Pretty interesting release date for this type of movie.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It's a weird blend of like sci-fi, horror, and even like a romance in there, a little action adventure.
Really? Wow, that's quite a mix.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So
Oh,
we got a bunch of sources we're going to look at today, reviews, behind the scenes stuff, some analysis.
okay, so we'll get a good look at it then.
Yeah, we'll try to give you a balanced take on it.
Yeah, cool.
So the movie kind of drops us right into this world where Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy are guarding opposite sides of a gorge.
Okay, so that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, exactly. They're like protecting the world from this like evil thing that's like lurking in the gorge.
Ah, I see, like a monster in the gorge.
Yeah, something like that. But the interesting thing is like their relationship. It's not just your typical like we're partners fighting evil together. It's like there's this rivalry and this tension between them.
Oh, so there's like a conflict between them.
Yeah, and it slowly starts evolving into something more, so there's this romantic element too.
Wow, so like a romance in the middle of this sci-fi horror?
Yeah, pretty wild, right?
That's a very unique combination. I'm curious how that plays out.
It's definitely not your typical Valentine's Day movie.
Not at all.
And speaking of not typical, we got to talk about the whole like mixing of the genres thing.
Yeah, the genre bending.
Yeah, they just threw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Right, like a genre mashup.
Yeah, and some critics, they really hate it. Like one review I saw was like, this is like trying to mix oil and water.
Oh, wow.
But then you have some critics who are like, this is brilliant. It's so original, throws out all the old tropes.
Yeah, I can see how it could be divisive.
Very divisive. But even the critics who hate it, they all acknowledge that the chemistry between Teller and Taylor-Joy is undeniable.
Ah, so their chemistry is like the saving grace.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And it helps that they're actually friends in real life.
Really? Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can see that genuine connection. And it really fuels their character's progression. They start as these rivals and then we become, well, if not friends, at least like companions in this crazy fight.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can really feel that when actors have a genuine connection.
Exactly. And it's not just about the sparks flying between them. Their characters actually go through some real growth. Like they grapple with isolation, they confront their pasts, and ultimately they discover this like strength from human connection in the face of, unimaginable horror.
That's great. So there's actual character development happening amidst all the action.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just a mindless action flick. You actually get invested in these characters.
That's what makes a movie memorable, when you care about the characters.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of memorable, can we talk about the visuals for a second?
Oh, yeah. I've heard it's quite a spectacle.
It's insane. Derrickson uses these long takes, especially in the gorge itself, and you feel like you're right there with them, feeling the vastness and the danger.
I can imagine those long takes can really immerse you.
Yeah. And then he cuts to these like tight claustrophobic shots during the action scenes, and it just like ramps up the tension.
Oh, wow. So he plays with the pacing visually, too.
And I read he used a lot of practical effects too, which you don't see a lot these days.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. I love practical effects.
Yeah, it makes it feel so much more real.
Definitely. It adds a certain weight to the visuals.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he really has a knack for creating this sense of unease.
He does. Just look at Sinister. That movie messed me up.
Yeah, he knows how to blend these subtle horror elements with the sci-fi and action. But I think what really makes The Gorge stand out is that he's not just showing us cool explosions and monsters. It's like he's weaving in this deeper exploration of love, sacrifice, and like what it means to survive.
Wow. So it's like he's using the visuals to tell a deeper story.
Exactly. It's not just style over substance. It's both.
I like that. It's more than just a popcorn flick.
It definitely gives you a lot to think about. But before we get too deep into the themes, we got to address the elephant in the room.
Oh, you mean the mixed reviews?
Yeah, you can't ignore that 61% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's not great.
And then there's that mixed or average score of 58 on Metacritic.
So critics are pretty divided on this one?
Yeah, some are saying the pacing is off, that it takes too long to get going, and then rushes the ending.
I see. So some pacing issues.
And some even said the plot was predictable.
Interesting.
But here's the thing. Even the most critical reviews praise the performances.
Ah, so Teller and Taylor-Joy are carrying the film.
Yeah, they really deliver. They bring these characters to life.
It's always great when the actors elevate the material.
Absolutely. It's a testament to their talent. They make it compelling, even if the script has some flaws.
Their performances are probably what's saving the film from being a complete flop.
Yeah, I think so. It seems like The Gorge is shaping up to be this complex and ambitious film.
Definitely ambitious, with that mix of genres.
It's not going to please everyone,
Well, you can't please everyone.
but it's clear the filmmakers weren't afraid to take risks.
And that's refreshing, in a world of sequels and reboots.
Totally. The Gorge is trying to carve its own path.
Yeah, offering something unique, a blend of genres and themes that will resonate with some viewers more than others.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so interesting to discuss.
For sure, it's a conversation starter.
Definitely, and that conversation is just getting started.
I'm ready. Let's dive deeper. It really does, feel like a film that's meant to be discussed and debated.
Yeah, sure.
Like picked apart, analyzed.
It's like that dish at a dinner party where everyone's got a different opinion.
Yeah.
You either love it or hate it, but you're
Yeah.
definitely talking about it.
Exactly.
But speaking of dissecting things, let's dive a little deeper into how this movie even came to be.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't just like an overnight project, right?
No, not at all. The Journey of the Gorge, actually, it began back in 2020
Okay.
with a spec script by Zach Dean,
Zach Dean, okay.
and it actually ended up on that year's blacklist.
Oh, wow. The blacklist, that's a pretty big deal.
It is. For those who don't know, it's basically a curated list of the most promising unproduced screenplays in Hollywood.
So even before cameras started rolling, The Gorge was already generating buzz.
Yeah, it was. And then Scott Derrickson signs on to direct.
I mean, come on, that's huge. Derrickson, the guy who did Doctor Strange and Sinister.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can definitely see his fingerprints all over this movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The way he uses these long, lingering shots to build suspense. The way he frames certain scenes to create this unsettling atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's classic Derrickson.
He really knows how to get under your skin, right?
Yeah.
But with The Gorge, it's not just relying on those horror elements. He's blending them with this sci-fi world, budding romance, explosive action sequences.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is.
That mix of genres definitely represented a challenge.
For sure. But casting Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, that was a stroke of genius.
Oh, yeah, they were perfectly cast.
Teller, with his intensity and range, and Taylor-Joy, known for her, ability to play these complex, enigmatic characters.
Yeah, they both have that certain something.
They do. And you can't forget Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, right, a legend.
Having her on board adds so much weight to the film.
Absolutely. Her presence alone elevates the whole project.
Plus, you got Soap Derisu and William Houston.
Talented actors.
This is a cast firing on all cylinders.
It really is. It's amazing to see this level of talent come together for a project like this.
It really speaks to the strength of, Zach Dean's script and Derrickson's vision.
Absolutely. They managed to assemble this phenomenal ensemble.
And you can feel that energy on screen.
Oh, for sure.
The interplay between Teller and Taylor-Joy is electric, and the supporting cast just adds so much depth to the world.
Yeah, it's not just about the leads.
Right, every character feels important.
Like they have a purpose.
Exactly, and the dialogue, it's great. It's snappy, witty, and at times really moving.
Yeah, the dialogue is definitely a highlight.
Dean doesn't just give us exposition or plot points. He gives us these moments of genuine human connection, even amidst the chaos and horror.
It's those little moments that really make a film.
They do, and there's this scene early on, just after Teller and Taylor-Joy's characters first meet.
Okay.
It's this quiet moment full of tension, subtext. Neither character is saying what they really mean, but you can feel the unspoken emotions.
Oh, I love that when a scene is full of subtext.
It's a masterclass in writing subtext.
It really is. It shows rather than tells.
Exactly.
You really believe these characters. You understand their struggles.
Yeah, and you find yourself rooting for them, even when they make, questionable decisions.
Because that's what makes them human, right?
Exactly. We're all flawed. We all make mistakes.
But it's how we deal with those mistakes, how we learn and grow that defines us.
And that's a message that resonates, regardless of whether you're into sci-fi or horror or romance.
It's a universal theme.
Absolutely. And The Gorge, it reminds us that even in the darkest of times, even when faced with the unimaginable, there's always hope.
Hope and something worth fighting for.
And that's something we can all relate to.
That need to connect.
To find meaning and purpose in a world that feels overwhelming.
The Gorge doesn't shy away from those big universal themes.
It doesn't.
It makes you think, it makes you feel.
And it leaves you wanting more.
It does, and that's precisely why we're here.
Exactly. We want to delve into this film unpack those layers, explore its hidden depths.
We're just getting started. We still have so much to discuss.
So much more, from the cinematography to the thought-provoking themes.
Yeah, the cinematography, you mentioned that, and its impact. I mean, The Gorge is a visual feast.
Oh, it is.
It's not just pretty pictures either. Derrickson uses these sweeping shots of the gorge to establish this feeling of isolation and vastness.
Right.
And then when the action kicks in, he cuts to these tight, claustrophobic close-ups that put you right in the middle of the chaos.
Yeah, and his use of practical effects adds a whole other layer of, like, realism and intensity to it.
Oh, yeah. I read that he actually built a lot of the sets to scale, so the actors were interacting with real environments.
Really?
Not just green screens.
Wow.
Yeah, you can feel that authenticity in every frame.
It's a nice change of pace from all the CGI we see these days.
It really is. And it's especially impressive considering the scope of this film. We've
Right.
got these epic landscapes, these monstrous creatures, incredible action sequences,
Yeah.
but it never feels artificial or overblown.
No, it's like he found that perfect balance between spectacle and, grounded realism. Exactly. And he also has this knack for using visual metaphors to reinforce the themes.
Oh, like what?
There's this recurring motif of light and shadow throughout the film.
Interesting.
And I think it speaks to the duality of the characters' natures, the struggle between hope and despair.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we can't forget about the score.
Oh, yeah, the music.
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross created this haunting, atmospheric soundscape.
It's perfect for this type of film.
It really complements the visuals.
Yeah, so it's a film that really immerses you on every level, visually, sonically, emotionally.
It is, but we've talked about the plot, the characters, the visuals, the music, but what about the heart of it all?
The themes.
Yeah, the themes, because The Gorge isn't just about two people fighting monsters and falling in love.
No, definitely not.
There's so much more going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. This film grapples with some pretty hefty existential questions.
It does.
Like, it asks us to consider what we're willing to fight for, what we're willing to sacrifice. Ultimately, what it means to be human in a world that, often feels chaotic and unforgiving.
Yeah, and these themes aren't presented in some preachy, on-the-nose way.
Right.
They're woven into the fabric of the story, revealed through the characters' choices.
You see it in their actions?
Yeah, we see Teller's character wrestling with his past, trying to find redemption.
Right.
And we see Taylor-Joy's character battling her own demons, searching for connection.
So their individual journeys highlight this need for human connection.
Exactly. And the fact that all of this is happening against this backdrop of sci-fi horror, it just adds another layer of complexity.
It really makes you think.
It does, and that's what sets The Gorge apart from so many other genre films. It's not just about the thrills and chills.
Yeah.
It's about something deeper, more profound.
One of the sources I read, it compared The Gorge to films like Arrival and Annihilation
Interesting.
in its exploration of these big philosophical ideas.
Yeah, it's a film that wants to provoke thought and discussion, not just entertain.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes it such a fascinating case study for us today.
It really is.
The Gorge, it defies easy categorization. It blends genres, pushes boundaries, challenges expectations.
It's a tough one to pin down.
It is. So where do we land on The Gorge? Is it a masterpiece?
Well, maybe not.
Is it a flawed but ambitious film that dares to be different?
Absolutely.
It's a film that's going to spark debate. It's going to divide audiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Some will love its genre-bending audacity, its emotional depth, its stunning visuals.
Others will find its pacing uneven, the plot predictable, maybe the themes a bit heavy-handed.
But even those who don't fully embrace The Gorge, they'll have to admit that it's a film that tries to do something different.
It does, something unique.
It pushes the boundaries of storytelling, challenges our perceptions of genre, and asks us to consider what truly matters in the face of the unknown.
And that in itself is a pretty remarkable feat. It is, so the final verdict. We think The Gorge is a must-see for anyone looking for a film that challenges expectations.
Yeah, a film that sparks conversation, lingers in the mind long after the credits roll.
It dares to ask big questions and offers some, thought-provoking answers.
And with that, we'll leave you with one final provocative thought.
Okay, hit us with it.
Do you think The Gorge, with its unique blend of genres and thought-provoking themes, will become a cult classic or fade into obscurity?
That's a good one. We want to hear from you. Check out The Gorge on Apple TV+.
Let us know what you think.
Join the conversation on social media, share your thoughts. We're always up for a good film debate.
Always.
Until next time, happy watching.